I would love to know who came up with the myth that you were supposed to have your life together by 30. Me personally, I feel like I did life backwards because I started early. I had my son when I was 19, and I got my first corporate job at 19. I got my first apartment at 19. Like, my life started, my adult life started as soon as I became a mom. And that's not how it goes for everybody who becomes a mother young. But it's like, I was 30 at 19. So by the time I hit 30, everything that my peers were doing are starting to accomplish, I had already accomplished. I had, by the time I hit 30, I was a mother of two. I had my own house. I bought my house when I was like 26, 27 years old. Like, I just feel like I started life so early that by the time I hit 30, I felt like I hit a ceiling, right? And it's like the goals that I thought I was supposed to have for myself at 30, they look drastically different than probably the goals that my peers thought they were going to have at 30. And the reality is, when you don't reach those plateaus, there's an anxiety that you get when you don't hit the benchmarks that you think you're supposed to hit at certain ages. But what I have come to realize at 45 now is that your 30s is literally when you're actually starting to understand yourself. You're starting to really know who you are, what you like, what you don't like. You're setting boundaries that you didn't set when you were younger. You're discovering yourself more. You're knowing, you're knowing what you're going to put up with, what you're not going to put up with. What I noticed is that, like, maybe around 35, you start to maybe want to pivot career-wise, or, you start to have higher expectations for yourself. And when you don't reach those goals, there's anxiety, there's depression, there's guilt, there's regret. When I was in my 30s, I was excited about my 30s, but I also had a lot of regret, a lot of guilt, a lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas creep up in your 30s. I should have did this, I could have did that. If I didn't do this, I would be here, I would be there. But at 45, I'm learning that I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about none of that. I don't give a fuck about chasing, climbing a career ladder. I'm chasing freedom at 45. At 35, I was probably chasing career goals. I wanted to probably be more advanced in the field that I was in. I don't desire to work for people. That's not my goal. That's never been my goal. I've always been a serial entrepreneur. Even since high school, I was a hustler. But those are the things that you start to evaluate in your 30s. Where am I career-wise? A lot of women regret not having children younger because now their biological clock is ticking, and the men are slim to none. It's slim to none, babe. I feel sorry for the women who ain't had no babies in certain ages, because these men, I'm not even gonna talk about it right now. But yes, are you married? I'm not married, dude. Does that feel like a failure? Your career, if you're not where you want it to be career-wise, does that feel like a failure? Your children, you have aspirations and goals for your children. If they didn't meet that, do you blame yourself for where they're not at? It's a lot of things that you start to question yourself about in your 30s. And all the things that you question yourself about in your 30s, you say fuck it in your 40s. I think 40 stands for fuck it. Fuck it 40, right? Because I know for a fact at 45, I sit my kids down and be like, look, y'all gonna get together one day and sit around the table and say, mom didn't do this, mom didn't do that, mom didn't do this. And y'all can be validated in however y'all want to feel, but you bring it to me and I'm going to say, fuck it. Your life is your responsibility. And I mean, it sounds fucked up, but listen, I grew up in the 90s, you know, this doggy dog world. I don't know what to tell you. But again, if you are in your 30s and you are questioning your life choices, are you where you should be, where you want to be, take a deep breath and just know that everybody that came before you went through this same cycle, and you'll be 40 soon. And once you hit 40, you really have no fucks to give. And then when you hit perimenopause, you really don't care. So I like to say it gets greater later. So if you're in your 30s and you're stressing out and you got anxiety and you're depressed, just get up. Go out. Pick yourself up. Brush yourself off and do the best that you can do for you. That you have to have your life together by 30, 35, that's bullshit. Everybody has their own KPIs that they need to meet, okay? And don't measure yourself with your peers. Don't measure yourself with other race groups. Just do what fits in your box. Everything else will fall into place. So just relax. Your 30s is great. Like, your 30s is your discovery years. Your 40s is when you just start living for you. So I encourage you to say fuck it. Do the best that you can do for you, and everything else will fall into place.